Take my phone and do it.
Hello, and welcome to Suite 44 here at T-Mobile Park. My name is Dan Wilson, former catcher for the Seattle Mariners, and this is the 2021 Students of the Game virtual event presented by Baseball Beyond Borders and Converge Media. This year's event will elevate our promise to ensure the proper access and opportunity is afforded to student athletes looking to explore their potential using baseball and softball as a vehicle. Before we move on, I'm going to ask that you share this live stream link via social media. This story needs to be seen and this story needs to be heard. Our theme is elevating our promise, the power of our story. We started in 2007 with a desire to increase baseball and softball access. Since then, we have taken small steps to ensure every kid is welcomed and embraced. Our work must continue, and today, you will hear from advocates, allies, and supporters around the power of our story. Before we get to all that, I definitely want to thank our sponsors for this afternoon, starting with Converge Media, the Seattle Mariners Baseball Club, Cairn Cross and Hempelman, MJS Investors, and Local Transports. Joining me today as co-host is the BBB founder and servant leader, Bookie Gates. Bookie, thank you for joining us. And before I turn it over to you, I want to say a couple things. First of all, it feels really good to be wearing this jersey. I tell you, this feels great, and I appreciate it. But you and I go back a long time, and to me, to see where BBB has come from where it has started is really inspiring. And from having those Starbucks coffees dates that we had a long time ago, and then to where you've come today, and how you've impacted communities, how you've impacted kids, how you've impacted your staff. It truly is inspiring. And once people get a handle of the coaches that you have and the kids that you have and the communities that you impact, you can't help and fall in love with what you guys have been doing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And there's some really exciting news, and so I'm really excited to hear where everything is going.
I love it, man. Thank you for having me here, and thank you all for joining us to the virtual event here with Baseball Beyond Borders. Thank you, Converge Media, for opening up a platform to allow us to tell our story and for the story to be heard. You know, there is a lot of exciting news, right? And one, I want to start with it, but I'm not. What I do want to pay homage to is this 1983 Orioles team that I believe was 17-0 back in the days. Obviously, you can see my little self on there. You can see my brother. You can see just just a bunch of advocates right now. Many of those who are on this screen itself, many of those who are here on this shirt, actually have kids who are currently in our program, right? So that just goes to show the type of community we're looking to build and continue to support. So great things are happening right now. We're here at T-Mobile Park. We're live. Obviously, we hate that we cannot be together with y'all in a space, but you know, the pandemic allows for us to now kind of stream live, and we can actually reach more people, right? So here we are. The most exciting news that I will say, Dan, is that we just got back from a trip. We took our junior division RBI team, that's those ages 13 to 15 years of age, to California for the West Regional Tournament, where we came back victorious. We're the West Region champs, so now we'll be attending the RBI World Series August 2nd through the 7th in Vero Beach, Florida. That's a lot. Old Dodger Town, but now they renamed it to Jackie Robinson Training Complex. So to hear this all come full circle, to know it started in 1920, and we get the opportunity to kind of continue to build on the legacy and preserve the culture of baseball in black communities says everything.
I think it's awesome, and it's super exciting news, and I know the guys were fired up this past weekend. You know, the winning is great, and I think it's so exciting to see all the hard work pay off. You guys work hard in the wintertime. There's a lot of work that goes into a baseball season, and so the winning is obviously great, but it's what you guys do and how you impact kids that's really, really the important work. And I just would love to hear some of the things that BBB has been able to accomplish, even during COVID, during a tough circumstance.
Yeah, even during COVID, you know, it really was an opportunity for us to build culture, to establish a rapport with families, to establish a rapport with those youth, to make sure that they were still connected. The one thing that we didn't want to do was to isolate them. And that was what was happening, right? We had to be confined to a place, but we were able to kind of connect. We were able to get Kyle Lewis, Shed Long. We were able to get Alvin Davis. We were able to get all those guys virtually in a space that allowed them to connect with those student athletes and families, just to talk about life. And to talk about more than just what the game of baseball brings, but how baseball is a vehicle to advance life and academic outcomes. And so we're continuously wanting to pursue that. We're still monitoring kind of the impacts of the pandemic and COVID, but I think we got a great opportunity moving forward to continue to impact communities.
And so you've had great success even during COVID. What does 2021 bring? And let's assume that, you know, things are better, we're back on track. You know, what does 2021, 2022 look like for BBB?
It's actually looking to provide greater access. The bottom line is that we want to allow kids and families to explore their potential using baseball and softball as a vehicle. So we're working very closely with municipalities to find access to fields, making sure we're updating policies and procedures that obviously has kind of restrict or created barriers for black and indigenous communities to access baseball and softball. But more importantly, it's really continuously elevating our story and building brand awareness around what we do and how we can continue to impact communities in baseball.
I love the fact that you mentioned your shirt and that some of these kids, their kids are now in the BBB program. And I had a son who was able to participate in the BBB program, and he absolutely loved it. And I think that the thing that my wife and I took away from it is, you know, the bonds that these kids make in these teams is so tight. And you know, my son would often tell me, hey, I got a text from Nestor today. And obviously Nestor has gone on to play at the collegiate level, and how exciting that is. And so I just love to see the stories of kids and how they respond to this experience and where it takes them. And it really, the work you guys are doing is awesome.
Wonderful. I appreciate it. And I think what we do is we have a great group of volunteer coaches, right? Again, these are volunteer coaches. These aren't coaches that are spending a lot of time, right, or getting paid to come here. Now, that's not necessarily what we desire, right? We want to compensate them for their time and for their efforts, but more importantly, they care. They care ultimately about what is happening in community, and they want to make sure that they continue to elevate the promise for those student athletes to have greater access, not just to play baseball, but to prepare themselves for life, right? And what that will bring to them when they end up graduating high school, they move on into the workforce, or they pursue post-secondary pathways.
Well, I'm so excited. This is going to be a great hour of BBB and talking about ways in which folks can help. You know, there's a lot of folks watching online tonight or this afternoon. What's your message to them? What is it that you want them to understand about BBB and the work that you guys are doing?
So the three pillars that we're focusing on today is to give, to connect, and to coach. right? We're looking for coaches, we're looking for advocates, we're looking for folks that want to connect with the work we're doing, but we also want to make sure that we're able to give. We want to reduce the impact and the cost that baseball has on families. The most important thing is that baseball is an expensive sport. It comes with a hefty price tag for many. And we want to make sure that you have the ability to sow a seed in community to allow this access to take place. And you can do that by texting SOTG21 to 44321, or you can go ahead and follow the live stream link. There's links in our social media for you to donate and give. That is going to be a recurring theme: give, connect, and coach.
Well, this is awesome. And I'm hoping that folks will feel the energy today and feel the work that you guys are doing, and understand how important this work is. And you mentioned it. Baseball it has barriers to participation. Gloves, spikes, bats, equipment, field access, like you mentioned, it all costs money. And so it's not available for everyone. And so I just love that BBB embraces that and says, hey, we're going to make it available for everyone. And I tell you, it's so great to be a part of it. When I come to practices on occasion to help with the catchers a little bit here and there, just the energy that these kids have, and they love being out there. They love being a part of it, and I think it's so important that all kids have access to baseball, because as we've seen with the Mariners, it's an exciting game. It's an unbelievable game, and kids having access to that is so important. Yeah,
and before we move on to a commercial break, I want to make sure I give a shout out to Kyle Lewis, Justin Dunn, Justice Sheffield for coming and participating in a practice with our student athletes prior to the trip down to LA. They inspired them, they motivated them. It meant a lot to actually see representation coming into community and embracing them. That said a lot. Also, shout out to the Players Alliance for taking care of our 12 and 13-year-olds by bringing them in and really giving them hope. Bottom line, right? They want to see representation. They want to see the potential that they can have in the sport of baseball. So we're going to a commercial break. When we come back, you're going to hear a lot about the power of our story. Thank you for joining. Welcome back to the 2021 Student of the Game virtual event. We are live from T-Mobile Park pregame, that is, before the Mariners and the Astros go ahead and kick off at 7 o'clock. This next segment that you're going to witness is the power of our story. You're going to hear from three key individuals that are advocates and supporters of Baseball Beyond Borders, and really to talk about the historical impact of baseball in black communities. We look forward to this clip. Take a look.
is through baseball. When we talk about equality and justice here in America, we have to remember that baseball carried that load. And also, we have to remember what Black America gave up. We gave up the only sport we ever owned. We gave up key economic drivers. These amazing teams with these classic uniforms and filled stadiums that we owned. We gave up a whole infrastructure, because guess who made the uniforms? Black people. Guess who sold the concessions? Black people. Guess who sold the tickets? Black people. So Jackie Robinson go play there in the majors. And now integration's here, but this storied history of Negro League baseball perished. We gave up the only sport we ever owned just so we could say that we were equal.
Everybody played baseball. Many a days you just ride your bike to the ballpark and have your game.
And man, the park would be full, the whole community would be out there. And maybe you get the frontiersmen, playing the Pirates and the Padres. Everybody's in the park. Hey, Nevada, swing!
We had such a bond of unity, and it was such a joy, especially at the All-Star time of the year, representing our community. And sadly, that's been lost.
Growing up in New York is like going up the block. It was like you didn't see no baseball games in Brooklyn going up the block. Like to see a baseball game in New York, you either had to go to like an actual professional game or you're going to like somebody's high school. The reason why I started playing is because everybody from my basketball team played baseball in the summer. But then again, as we got older and stuff started getting more serious, I wouldn't see anybody like me. So even when I got up to college, I played at St. John's University. I think maybe it was like me and this other kid who was black.
A lot of black kids just stopped playing baseball for a lot of different reasons. And what Baseball Beyond Borders is doing is really taking these young people, and their approach is holistic.
We as the elders in the community have a responsibility to help mold these young people. There's not just the baseball, softball, volleyball component. There's the moving beyond 12 component, and that's totally off-field stuff.
We are trying to get these kids the same access as everybody else into the same schools. It's not just about sports, it's about education, it's about community building, it's about uplifting others.
These are neighborhood guys and gals that come together and trying to do something for young people in the community. And as usual, when things start in the community, they're under-resourced. They never really have the budget, never really have the equipment, never really have the transportation. But the legacy of our community is where there's a will, there's a way, and they continuously make good things happen. But we need to lighten the load. I mean, there's a role for everybody, though. So people can share on the internet, tell the story. So many things people can do to be supportive. But let's just do that, support.
So that was the power of our story, right? That was a glimpse of kind of the work that we're doing as Baseball Beyond Borders. I want to thank Omari Salisbury, thank Sean Hagler, thank Kemal Ford for gracing us with their presence. It says a lot when we talk about blacks in baseball gave up the only thing they ever owned from a professional sports franchise just to be equal. That's a powerful statement, right? It's something that I think we hold near and dear to our hearts, and why we want to continue to preserve the cultural legacy of baseball in black communities.
Yeah, and it's such a powerful story. And I love, the part, there are a couple things really impact me. One is just the idea of community coming together to help community. And I love that premise. The other thing I love, and it was mentioned in the video clip, about the moving beyond 12, and that's really the heart and core of what BBB is all about. It's helping young men become better young men and becoming stronger young men and helping them realize their potential and using baseball and softball and volleyball as a vehicle to do that.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that we're building upon. There's a lot that we're learning at the same time. But what's important is that the cultural preservation of baseball in Black communities continues to thrive, and that we continue to invest the resources needed so that communities can feel welcomed, belonged, and feel as if they have the opportunity to explore their potential.
And I think the community that's watching can help make that happen. And I
Absolutely.
think that's what today is all about, trying to engage the community online to help engage your community and the baseball community in Seattle. And I can't think of a better way to bring these two groups together.
Absolutely. So we know the power of our story is in the hands of community. And so we now have to continue to invest those resources. So again, you can text SOTG21 to 44321 to give, or you can visit us online, or you can click the links that are on the live stream. So let's go ahead and move on to a commercial break. We still got some more exciting conversations to have. And there's a special guest that's coming up that I want you to wait for. 2001. That's right. We all remember the 2001 season with the Seattle Mariners. Was that the Refuse to Lose, I believe?
That was 95.
95 was Refuse to Lose. My bad. I'm dating myself. But anyway, 2001, they set a record for wins. And this individual helped contribute, in addition to Dan Wilson, this individual helped contribute, and we're looking forward to having a conversation with him about how we continue to preserve Black baseball, or baseball in the Black community. So we'll be right back from another commercial here.
It's not every day that you get the ballpark all to yourself, but that's exactly what happened last week when the Seattle Mariners turned over the keys to Converge Media, and we shot some segments for the upcoming special highlighting the work of baseball beyond borders. I won't lie, I felt like a kid in a candy store, and it was an amazing experience being able to uplift Baseball Beyond Borders work to bring more young Black boys and girls into baseball and softball. Be on the lookout for the special soon, and to all the young people out there in our community, try baseball. Today is officially a good day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cuddy, and it's about that time of year. It's time to get out and vote. This year, we're weighing in on local races from the county executive to the mayor to the school board and more. So now's the time to use your voice and make yourself heard. Read your voter's pamphlet. You can make your selection in any color pen, sign your return envelope, and return your ballot as soon as possible. Be sure to track it through the process at kingcounty.gov/election. Ballots must be postmarked by Election Day, August 3rd, or placed in one of the 73 King County drop box locations by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Look, now from one P to another, it's important that our voices is heard. So please, go out and vote.
The Morning Update show is going back on the road, and this time we're headed to Seattle's iconic Paramount Theater. Join me, Trey Holiday, and the rest of the Morning Update show crew August 2nd through August 6th as we broadcast live from one of Seattle's most iconic landmarks and put a focus on the arts, culture, and music right here in the Emerald City. That's the Morning Update show live from the Paramount Theater, August 2nd through August 6th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., streaming across all Converge Media platforms.
Welcome back to the Student of the Game virtual event 2021. And as Buki mentioned before the break, we have an outstanding special guest and a former teammate of mine. And it's just a young man right here, Mike Cameron. And Cammy, we are so glad you're here and you're so glad that you're a part of this. First of all, just give us an update of where things are for you. What are you doing for the club? Just give us a little background of where things are at for Mike Cameron right now.
Well, for me, I am in player development, special assignment work, and I've been to Arkansas. I haven't been anywhere else. My next destination is Everett after I do the 3 days of root sports work here. And I'll probably make another visit when I come back out west out here to go see Modesto, and hopefully I can come here for this playoff stretch.
Oh, I like the sound of that for
Yeah.
sure. And when you go to these places, Arkansas, minor leagues, you working primarily with the outfielders?
Primarily, it starts with the outfielders, but I end up being a mentor, a coach, an uncle for most of the guys, asking all type of questions at all times.
Well, and this particular year and last year, as a dad,
Yeah.
pretty special stuff going on for you as well. Can you talk about dads a little bit?
Yeah, so my son had an opportunity to get his first call up last year during the COVID season. We could none of us could be around at that time. And this year was very special for me because when he got called up again this year, we didn't go right away. He got called up early June. And he was fortunately, he was up long enough to make it to Father's Day weekend. And we all took a trip out to Anaheim to see him play and get a chance to enjoy some family time during Father's Day. So it was pretty special to me.
And how cool is it to see your son playing in the big league?
Yeah, it's cool to see him play in the big leagues, and then it's cool to actually see him hit a homer in the big leagues. That was pretty special in itself.
That is awesome. All right, let's go way back.
Yeah.
Way back to young Mike Cameron. What got you, where did you grow up, first of all, and what got you engaged in baseball at a young age?
Well, I grew up in LaGrange, Georgia, and I think my grandmother introduced me when I was about, I'll say, and my uncles, they all played softball and stuff like that. But I think I was introduced to baseball at a very young age, and I think the first year I played was like at 6 years old. And it's grown on me ever since. I've been a fan of it. I used to watch Monday Night Baseball on ABC with my uncle. So, you know, baseball is rooted in me as much as it is, you know, my kid.
And when you think about baseball today, and obviously it's come a long way, and you think about the work that BBB does, and trying to bring access to baseball, especially to black communities.
Yeah.
How in your eyes, how can we ensure the culture of baseball in black communities?
I think number one is like introduction. You know, continue to introduce guys to it. I think that one of the stigmas in the Afro-American community, and I think the biggest thing is that the failure. Afro-American athletes or baseball players are used to having dominant in sports. And baseball is the one humbling sport that allows you and makes you work on your craft on a daily basis. And, you know, with the way it is today, I would think like the numbers, in a sense, from money-wise, trying to monetize a way for these guys to get opportunity to play in the travel sports and to be able to do different things and experience something outside of their city.
And that is, you know, you bring up travel ball, and that's such an interesting topic because it is. That can be a barrier for a lot of kids, especially in black communities, to participate in baseball. What are some ways that folks out there that are watching this that can support BBB? How can they help break down those barriers?
I think a lot of times we try to do different things foundational-wise. I actually have my own academy back home where I've tried to help some individual guys. I've had the teams, and it's costly. And so I would think, you know, like charity-wise and foundational-wise, I think baseball has started, Major League Baseball has started the Players Alliance now, and that's been a very big contributor moving forward. They donated $100 million over the next 10 years to ensure some of the youth get a chance to experience this special dream that they play on this field right here.
Well, Cammie, I can't thank you enough for being here and being a part of this. This is awesome for me to be back with a teammate. And even though you're not roaming center field right now, you know, watching you, getting a chance to watch you play over the years and saving my hide because I put down the wrong finger, but you were able to correct it and make the catch. So awesome to have you here. Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for your support of BBB. And we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
It's not every day that you get the ballpark all to yourself, but that's exactly what happened last week when the Seattle Mariners turned over the keys to Converge Media, and we shot some segments for the upcoming special highlighting the work of Baseball Beyond Borders. I won't lie, I felt like a kid in a candy store, and it was an amazing experience being able to uplift Baseball Beyond Borders work to bring more young black boys and girls into baseball and softball. Be on the lookout for the special soon, and to all the young people out there in our community, try baseball. Today is officially a good day. The Morning Update show is going back on the road, and this time we're headed to Seattle's iconic Paramount Theater. Join me, Trey Holiday, and the rest of the Morning Update show crew August 2nd through August 6th as we broadcast live from one of Seattle's most iconic landmarks and put a focus on the arts, culture, and music right here in the Emerald City. That's the Morning Update show live from the Paramount Theater, August 2nd through August 6th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., streaming across all Converge Media platforms.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cuddy, and it's about that time again. It's time to get out and vote. This year, we're weighing in on local races from the county executive to the mayor to the school board and more. So now's the time to use your voice and make yourself heard. Read your voter's pamphlet. You can make your selection in any color pen, sign your return envelope, and return your ballot as soon as possible. Be sure to track it through the process at kingcounty.gov/election. Ballots must be postmarked by Election Day, August 3rd, or placed in one of the 73 King County drop box locations by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Look, now from one P to another, it's important that our voices is heard. So please, go out and vote.
Good afternoon. My name is E.C. Parker, Vice President of Baseball Beyond Borders and also coach of our 15U program. I'm here to highlight the importance of giving and giving generously if able. Your donations directly offset the cost for families to participate in our community. If you're unable to give financially, we ask that you give of yourself through your time and talents, whether that's coaching, volunteering in other capacities, or just sharing your own human resources. Again, no amount is too small. Tell a friend to donate and join the Baseball Beyond Borders family.
It's not every day that you get the ballpark all to yourself, but that's exactly what happened last week when the Seattle Mariners turned over the keys to Converge Media, and we shot some segments for the upcoming special highlighting the work of Baseball Beyond Borders. I won't lie, I felt like a kid in a candy store, and it was an amazing experience being able to uplift Baseball Beyond Borders' work to bring more young black boys and girls into baseball and softball. Be on the lookout for the special soon, and to all the young people out there in our community, try baseball. Today is officially a good day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cuddy, and it's about that time of year. It's time to get out and vote. This year, we're weighing in on local races from the county executive to the mayor to the school board and more. So now's the time to use your voice and make yourself heard. Read your voter's pamphlet. You can make your selection in any color pen, sign your return envelope, and return your ballot as soon as possible. Be sure to track it through the process at kingcounty.gov/election. Ballots must be postmarked by Election Day, August 3rd, or placed in one of the 73 King County Dropbox locations by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Look, now from one P to another, it's important that our voices is heard, so please, go out and vote.
Welcome back to the 2021 Students of the Game virtual event, live from T-Mobile Park. As you've seen, you've heard the power of our story. You've then heard from Mike Cameron, Cammy, former Seattle Mariners. You've got the co-host, Dan Wilson. This is becoming an exciting time for us here in studio. We're loving everything that's happening. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you for joining us. Again, you can share the live stream. If you want to give, you can do so by texting SOTG21 to 44321, or you can visit the link in our bio or links on all social media platforms. This next segment that we're going to have is a great conversation. It's a current Seattle Mariners star, that is looking to continue to invest in community. And he did so by even showing up one time for us by being present at a baseball practice. So we want you to take the moment to hear from Kemal Ford, brand ambassador, and Justin Dunn, starting pitcher for the Seattle Mariners.
Thank you, Buki and Dan. My name is Kemal Ford, brand ambassador of Baseball Beyond Borders. It is my privilege to spend some time in conversation with someone I watched growing up and actually coached when he was younger. Joining us live is Seattle Mariners starting pitcher Justin Dunn. Justin, welcome to Baseball Beyond Borders 2021 virtual event.
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
What's up? I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I think the last time we spoke was the early pandemic with you and Kyle.
Oh, yeah, in the house.
Dan, yeah. In the house. Yeah, I think y'all was stuck down there for a little bit.
Yeah, like 3-4 months, man, until we got going.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna get it started, and so how we're just gonna ask you a couple of questions and roll through it. So how did you get started? What was your start in baseball?
My start in baseball.
Your journey. You can go through your whole journey. Yeah.
My earliest baseball memory was going up to watch my pops play. Believe it or not, he played for a men's league team up in Ossining, New York. And I just remember watching him play and then watching him play softball. And next thing I remember, I was playing for this league in Queens, HBQVB, and the earliest memory I had from there was we did like a skills competition to work on guys throwing and hitting and running and fielding. And there was one drill in which you had to throw a ball through a tire. Everybody else, every other kid, couldn't get the ball through the tire. I think they gave me 3 throws, and I went 3 for 3, and they were like, okay, get out of here. And that was the first thing I remembered. And honestly, from that day forward, I've always had a bat and glove in my hand, or a baseball in my hand, or watching the game, or playing MLB The Show. It's just been my passion. It's been my love since I was that young.
Yeah, I remember HQBV. We used to call that the alphabet team out there. They used to have that short porch. I hit it out a couple of times in that short porch.
Yeah.
When I was playing with the Bonnies. So you kind of jumped into who were some. How did you start in your journey? But who was like your main influence that had you like embrace baseball?
My pops. I don't give him enough credit. But yeah, he showed me the game, taught me the game, taught me how to work, and he's been one of my coaches since I started playing. So wouldn't be here without him. So my pops for sure.
Okay. And what were some major league influences? So like Major League Baseball, and then like going back to like what you heard from like the Negro Leagues, like who influenced you there? Who was like a play that stood out to you?
Okay. Obviously you got Jackie. As a young kid, I didn't really understand the magnitude that he had within the game and growing the game, but Jackie was number one. And then I grew up in the core 4, so I had Jeter, Pettit, Mariano, Bernie, with Tino, Paul O'Neill, Jorge, all those dudes. So I grew up watching them play, and I always dreamed that I was going to go take Jeter's spot at shortstop or be the next closer for the Yankees and be like Mariano. And then the first big leaguer I've ever met was El Duque, and that was a pretty cool moment. He was actually done signing autographs for the day, and my mom had brought me from school and brought me in late, and like I said, he was done, and I guess God touched his heart enough to see a little boy who wanted to play and signed an autograph for me and took a picture. I don't remember it, but I have a picture of it, and from age 7 to age 12, I used to make sure my leg kick went super high like El Duque's and like almost knee myself in the head just to try to be like El Duque. He was one of my favorite pitchers for the beginning of my childhood playing baseball. Yeah,
you said a lot of Yankees. You made my heart proud. I know Skip would have been upset. Skip is a friend of mine who helped me coach Justin when he was at Boys Club.
He knows what time it is.
Off the top, like a crazy Mets fan. So yeah, So a lot of it is kids don't have the access, or they don't have access to baseball because of transportation, because of cost, because of anything that inner city kids, they don't have the same availability to that other kids do. So why is it important to give the kids access to baseball? In your words.
I just think it's a game everybody should play. You know, this is America's pastime. I think whether you like the game or not, or love the game like I do, or guys that play at this level, I definitely think baseball is a sport that everybody should play. It teaches team, it teaches family, it teaches failure. This is a game unlike any other where you understand how to fail, and I just think that aspect of life for young kids to learn how to handle and understand failure is okay. It's going to teach you some important lessons. Is huge. And then I think when you look back at the history of the game with the Negro Leagues and even early baseball in my childhood, African Americans were very predominant in this game. So just to get the game back into our communities and grow it and get people who look like me and kids who look like me to play the game again and produce some really good players, because most of the African American players in the league aren't just good; they're pretty dominant. I mean, you look at CeCe and Kalu, who won a Rookie of the Year, Devin Williams last year. You look at Jimmy Rollins. I mean, then it goes on forever about the type of talent that the African American community has pushed into the league, dating back to the start of the game. So I just think it's very important to get it back in our community and give kids a chance to experience it and learn the lessons that the game also has, and see if maybe they can't fall in love with it as well.
Yeah, I got it. So bringing it back because you said like everybody should have access to baseball, but do you think baseball is harder in the inner city because it's going up against the footballs, the basketballs, the track, even track and field, now lacrosse and soccer? How do you think that we can broaden our lens and welcoming more kids into baseball?
Yeah, I mean that's a conversation that I think could take 3 or 4 hours. Plain and simple. I mean, you look at my little brother, right? He grew up in a diehard baseball family, and we had him in the game until he was 13 or 14, and we lost him to basketball. How does that happen? I don't know. You know, but from what I see and the conversations I've had with him, it's a lot easier when your friends can all go to a basketball court and all you need is one ball, and honestly, you need one extra person to play with, and you can play basketball. You get 5, and you can play a real game. You can play full court. In baseball, you need 9 kids, a bat, a ball. Everybody needs a glove. You need 4 bases, a mound, and a field big enough to play, and that's hard to fulfill. So, pure access-wise to kids nowadays, it's not as intriguing. And then I think the NBA does such a great job of marketing the game within the community and marketing their players and making the game look cool and making the game look fun. And when you, in our community, have so many people in that one sport that look like you automatically gravitate towards that sport because it's easy to see yourself doing that. In our sport, there may be 1 on every team, 2 on every team. So it's a lot harder for you to say, oh, I want to be like X, the baseball player, when you can look at any team in the NBA and there's 10 to 15 of players on the team that look like you. So I think, one, promoting the game, it's going to start with getting more people in the game first and foremost, and advertising players. And like I said, this is a conversation that can go on for a long time, but just getting as many faces back in the game as we can to get other young ones to see you can do it too, even though you look like me.
Talking about like reaching out to kids and better access. Can you tell us like your work you're doing with like the Players Alliance and how that's reaching out with the communities? You guys are doing an amazing job. I see I don't know if you know, one of my former teammates is Della Betances, and I know he's a part of it. I've seen CeCe. I saw you guys took a bus trip across the country and was donating stuff and giving stuff out. So if you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that was the big thing that we did this offseason was the Pull Up Neighbor Tour, and gave out COVID supplies and also baseball equipment to young kids in inner cities to try to grow the game and get them to play baseball. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we're trying to do and help young African-American players that do want to play. So the Player Alliance is doing a great job with opening doors for young African-American players to get the exposure, to get seen, to get the coaching, and do all the things that some of these kids may not have access to that you need to do in order to play this game at the level that we all play at. And it's been a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, and the Pull-Up Neighbor was an amazing time, and we had such a great turnout. And recently got MLB to donate a lot of money to help us out. So to know we have the backing of the MLB and every player that's a part of the Alliance and the great things that we have going on, I'm encouraged with where we're headed, and I think we have some really special things coming up.
Okay, can you share a memory or a couple of memories? We could start like early age, then we can go to teens, college, and then pro. So
Okay.
four memories that you have of baseball that stood out to you.
4 memories. So early age, we'll
so like,
say
I guess like pre-12.
Pre-12,
Yeah.
Cooperstown. We went to Cooperstown, played that week-long tournament there in Cooperstown, New York, and we actually won it. I pitched the championship game, and to this day is one of the coolest moments I've ever had. The next age, what we'll say 16. That age was right around the time you started traveling by yourself. So my earliest memories were probably, or my best memories were just the bus trips and building camaraderie with guys and being on the road and playing in some cool stadiums and also playing in some dogfights, playing down in East Cobb, playing down in Texas and playing down in Florida, things like that. And playing against some really competition, honestly, against guys that I still see now in the big leagues, which is pretty crazy. We've been on this journey together for a pretty long time. And then college, we'll say getting drafted and then dogpiling in Oxford, Mississippi, because we were the first team in BC history to get to a super regional. And then we were one game away from going to Omaha for the first time in school history. So that was a really special moment. And then my favorite pro moment, probably Felix's last game. That was pretty surreal. One of my childhood favorite pitchers, to be able to give him a hug and a high five after his last game in T-Mobile Park was pretty crazy. And see the K-Corp going nuts and then him come back out to a standing ovation. I still have chills every time I think about it.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. So we're near the end of our conversation. Is there anything you want to leave our viewers with? Any words of wisdom or any special advice that you might have?
No, I say the same thing to everybody. My biggest thing is I was never the kid that was supposed to be here. I was never the kid that was supposed to be pitching on TV, never the kid that was supposed to be pitching in the big leagues. Everybody who's played with me when I was younger honestly wrote me off and didn't think I was good enough because I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest, I didn't throw the hardest. But I always had one thing that they didn't, and it was belief in myself and determination and work ethic. And I was willing to sacrifice, and I sacrificed a lot of things to get to where I am. But the biggest thing I just want to leave you guys with is the mind is a very powerful thing. Don't let someone else's perception, someone else's word, someone else's sacrifice, and do the things, the intangible things that go into doing it. You can do whatever your mind puts, whatever you put your mind to. So believe in yourself, keep faith, and keep working, and you can do anything.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And I can attest to that because knowing Justin, I think I met him when he was like 8 years old, 8, 9, and he was tiny. And he worked through everything. He worked through there were a lot of coaches out there. There was a lot of people writing him off. There were a lot of people saying he's too small, he can't do this, he can't do that. And look where he is now. He worked through it. I saw him at the boys club. Then he went to prep school, boarding school at that. It wasn't even prep school, it was boarding school. Then he had to leave his family at an early age, before college. We're talking about pre-college. This is way before college. And then he went to Boston College and then got drafted, and then look where he's at now. So just keep working and keep pushing through. If you want to look at something, look at him and get that motivation. So we want to thank Justin for taking his time out to be a part of this Student of the Game breakfast. This is virtually. Next year, hopefully, be in person, and we can have more people come out and more support. We want to thank you guys, and back to Buki and Dan at the studio.
So welcome back to T-Mobile Park. We're live, preparing ourselves. Thank you, Justin Dunn. Thank you, Kemal. Amazing story, and we'll continue to elevate that. We're now at the best part of our fundraiser, and this is really an opportunity to talk about the Gert Hauser Moving Beyond 12 Award. This is named after my mother, who has been a pillar in communities. So this Gert Hauser Moving Beyond 12 Award recognizes current and/or former student athletes for their outstanding record of academic excellence, commitment to community, and the transformation of the community. The award serves as an incentive for student athletes to continue making significant contributions to the intellectual climate of the school and community itself. This award recognizes those up-and-coming performers, right, who will eventually be leaders in a professional industry and within our community. So with this being said, this award is actually provided a $1,000 scholarship or an award, $1,000 that they can use for whatever so choose they want to put it towards. So our 2021 award winner was one of the early pioneers with Chafee Baseball Inner City before we transitioned to Baseball Beyond Borders. He graduated from Franklin High School in 2014. From there, he enrolled in Bethune-Cookman, an historically black college university, for a month before returning home. For the next 4.5 years, he then went on to attend Eastern Washington University. During that time at Eastern Washington University, he managed to write for the university's newspaper, along with many other local, outlets, such as the Up and Up, Proof in the Play, Prep Hoops, and our very own Facts newspaper here in Seattle. He graduated in 2019 from Eastern Washington University with a bachelor's degree in journalism, while minoring in communications and Africana studies. I apologize. He is currently serving as a contributing writer for the B-Town blog and the media relations supervisor for BFL Prep, a national prep team based here in the state of Washington. Will you join me in honoring Rajon Stelly as the Gert Hauser Moving Beyond 12 Award recipient? Rajon is joining us here live at T-Mobile Park. Rajon, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Man, Rajon, it's been years since you last played baseball with us,
right,
before obviously moving on into basketball and then pursuing your career in journalism. Talk about what you're doing now.
So now I'm a media relations supervisor for BFL Prep, national prep team. We go to different states and play in different tournaments on a national schedule. I'm actually a contributing writer for the B-Town blog as well, based out of Burien. And so, yeah, just doing those two things right now. Do a little freelance work here and there, but other than that, yeah, that's about it.
So this is an epitome of what we talk about, connecting student athletes' passions to their academic futures, right? There was obviously a need to be in journalism, and he has a love for writing, and he's channeling that passion to continue to be a part of the community, or what we say the sports community. Yeah. But as I mentioned, you're an early pioneer from those Chafee Baseball Inner City days,
right,
where winning wasn't the thing, right? We didn't care about winning. At least we told
better. Yeah.
But talk about your experience there, and then what you've been able to see us evolve to today.
Oh man, it was fun. I met some of my good friends playing for Chafee. You, my uncle EC, and my dad Stevie Allen, Emerald City Fish and Chips. Yeah, man, you guys just brought us together and just wanted us to get better, build relationships with people, and like become a brotherhood, really. So that was the fun part, on top of playing in the games and the travel.
Yeah. And talk about the relationships now that you have with those.
Now I actually went to college with one of them, Yvelle Nelson. Me and Yvelle were roommates in college. Me and Keyshawn Kelly, we're still best friends to this day. Brandon Mills, the list goes on and on.
Right.
It just goes, it's just everlasting. I know so many of those guys I talk to on a regular, so.
Yeah. So now what's next for you? You're a award recipient for the Gert Hauser Moving Beyond 12. Big honor, right? Because you know what moms have done in community.
Shout out Ms. Hauser.
So now what are you planning on doing moving forward?
Now I just plan on continuing to help the youth. Really, that's what I do most of my freelance work on, is just helping the youth really just pushing the narrative for guys to be better and understand like it's more to life than just playing sports. Like we have so many other talents we don't use. You know what I'm saying? We get caught up in wanting to make it out in sports, but we can do anything we want to do, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, but really just inspiring the youth one day at a time. That's really my motto and my goal right now.
So what's one word or words of wisdom that you can give to the viewers that are with us today that you can leave them with?
I would say don't limit yourself to just one thing. Like, we could do so much. Like, we're better than like what we do as a profession or what we'd like to do as fun. Like, you know, I would just say be you at all times and just always remain humble through it all.
Well, congratulations on the award recipient, man. I appreciate your time
Appreciate
coming here. Rajon Stelly, the 2021 Gert Hauser Moving Beyond 12 scholarship recipient, or award recipient. It's not necessarily a scholarship. He's using that for what he needs. So we're going to move on to a commercial break. When we come back, you're going to hear again from Justin Dunn, and then you'll get closing remarks from co-host Dan Wilson and myself. So stay tuned.
The game of baseball continues to have an impact on my life and provide me with everything I've dreamed of, from playing the Yankees to playing against some of the best in the world. Your support of Baseball Beyond Borders can give the kid the same opportunity, but more importantly, it'll provide them the critical skills to develop their life's journey. Support Baseball Beyond Borders today by texting SOTG21 to 44321 or visiting the link on the screen.
Welcome back to T-Mobile Park as pregame continues behind us. This hour has gone by very quickly. We knew it would, and it's gone by very quickly. But I just hope all of you have had a chance to understand the impact that BBB is having in the community, helping not just people understand and young kids understand their potential of baseball, but to understand their potential. And hearing from Rajon and just his story and all the alumni that have been a part of BBB, it's one story like that after another. And BBB was the instrument in which they were able to make those dreams come alive. So I want to encourage all of you to give, coach, and connect and be a part of the BBB community going forward.
We thank you, Dan, for co-hosting with me. I appreciate that. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you, Converge Media. Thank you, Karen Cross and Hempelman, Local Transports, MJS Investors, and Seattle Mariners Baseball Club. We can't wait to continue to move this platform forward, and we continue to need your support. Again, if you want to give, you can give by texting SOTG21 to 44321. Or you can click the link in the bio or on any social media outlet through Baseball Beyond Borders. I'm going to turn it over here to our up-and-coming baseball player, Keelan Gates, who is going to take us away. Keelan?
Thank you for joining us today and for your continued support. We look forward to seeing you at the ballpark.
Thank y'all for joining us.